I have some questions for you about
Yeah,
your background in
yeah,
art.
yeah.
So what did you do before you started Mini Fantasy?
Many things. I will tell you. Uh, my background in art is I study art in the high school. So in Spain, when you go to high school, which is from 16 years old to 18 before university, we have different high school types, which will determine which careers you can access. Okay, so I did the art one,
Hmm.
which gives me some foundation on art because you study color theory and all the stuff there, and you draw a lot and all that stuff, but nothing to related actually to digital art and nothing related to pixel art. And it was many years ago anyway. But after that, I didn't study any other thing related to art really.
But
Uh,
I can tell that the color theory, uh, you've got that shit down though.
but as
Like,
well, it's out of practice, to be honest. Like before I started Mini Fantasy, uh, I never have like an art related job. I like to draw and do things by myself, but not really like a lot during my young years. Uh, and then I was doing works that has nothing to do with art creation. So before I work a lot in hospitality when I was younger because I was living abroad. I was living in Japan and then I was living in UK, and when you go and move to a new place, you don't speak the language and all of that, you tend to end doing like jobs like hospitality and these things that are the easier to get. So I've been big part of my life working in those things. And then when I moved to Taiwan, I was a bit burned out of all these kind of jobs, so I wanted to do something different. And in Taiwan, I opened a company. I have a board game publisher in
oh,
Taiwan. So I was publishing board games in Taiwan. Okay. Because I
that's
like
so
designing
cool.
games too, like
Hmm.
board games, because I didn't know how to code. So I was like designing board games almost all my life just for fun to because I was interested and I cannot make video games, so what I can make board games because it's paper and things to do prototype you can do, right? So in
Mm.
Taiwan I was doing the publisher and we were publishing some games there in Taiwan. And the company was like running okay, but it was like not giving enough money to justify the time I was investing there. So the company was eating the profit to publish more games that were eating the profits, and it was a cycle of like consuming money. And I spent like 3 or 4 years doing that, and I decided to close it. But in there, working in the company, I started to do pixel art because I was illustrating my home games, and
Hmm.
uh, I decided to illustrate them with pixel art. So my first experience, like real, like serious experience doing pixel art, was to illustrate board games. And from there, I went down the rabbit hole and I started to explore more about pixel art. I started to understand how tilesets are created. I started to, like investigate a little bit on the matter and practice, practice, practice. And then with Mini Fantasy, it has been a lot of practice because I took it as full-time attempt on a project. So I put all my time on making Mini Fantasy, and yeah, so I learned a lot making Mini Fantasy too.
Was Forgotten Plains the first thing you released, or was
The
it Dungeons?
it's Dungeon. Dungeon was the
Dungeon.
first
Huh?
one. Yeah. Yeah, you can see the order release. You can see actually I show you.
Oh,
Uh,
it's accurate on itch.
it's accurate if you go into my profile.
Ah,
So if you go down, the first packs, this is the first pack. So it was Dungeon, Creatures, and Forgotten Plains. The third first. Hey Nikki, welcome. Yeah. So that
how
was
did
the.
you how did you come up, or well, how did you land on the 8x8 resolution?
It actually I landed in the 8 by resolution two main reasons. One is like before I started the project because I started Mini Fantasy with kind of a plan, which I didn't know if will work or not. But I always dream a little big in everything I do, and many times I just like fall and crash and didn't work. But with mini fantasy, kind of work it. But so I was thinking, yeah, it would be nice to make a collection, and I was having so this like a little bit of a big dream with mini fantasy, but I didn't know if it will work or not. So one thing I was thinking, like 8 by 8 resolution will be somehow, don't ask me why, easier to manage and handle in a way. In that time I have that vision, I don't know why, which now with more experience I think is a resolution is just a resolution. But I was thinking, maybe I can produce things faster, or I can, like, I don't know, handle to have a more consistent style. That was one of the reasons. The other reason is like I was like, because I have this idea of making a long-term project, so I was researching in each what is lack of in terms of like pixel art style, resolution, etc. So I saw there is no much 8 by 8 things.
Yeah.
So I think like, yeah, maybe this a bit niche, but at the same time maybe no, maybe no, it's not enough options. So I was thinking maybe I have more room here to stand out.
You definitely have. I think the thing that drew me to your to mini fantasy,
Hmm.
initially I thought, well, this style, I won't be able to do anything with it as from a game design standpoint.
Yeah.
But then I saw the sheer amount of stuff that you had done with it, and I was so impressed. And
Thank you.
I love the colors, uh, and for some reason, the uh, the fact that you do the colors so well, it
Thank you.
made me it made me feel like I could I could mooch off of your color theory, and like the stuff that you hadn't made yet, I could make on my own because you had such a broad a spectrum of things that were already made,
Hmm.
and we could just and since it's 8 by 8, you can alter it. So I think it's amazing for people who want to do something a little bit by themselves as well. Like you
Yeah.
can see the stuff that I made for Imbio for Power Fantasy.
Yeah. By the way,
It,
awesome.
it's just it's just but it's just like it's ripped from your stuff. Like all of if you check the color palettes of everything I make,
Man, but
it's
that is
it's
totally
yoinked
fine.
from your stuff.
But you know, it's like it's actually don't be ashamed or anything by doing that, because this is how you learn and how art is created. Nobody invented nothing, actually. Like you learn by seeing what other people do. And you know, there is a line between copying or stealing and from creating. But you know, I don't own you don't own the art style, or you don't own a color palette. You know, it's like I'm happy if the color palettes of mini fantasy help you or anyone, because
Hmm.
you know, it's like I've been doing my own research, I've been looking at other artists how they solve problems, and I still do it now. So it's a normal working process for any artist, and whoever say the opposite is lying. So
Yeah.
when I have to make any asset, like let's see, like a thatched roof, for example,
Mm.
and you need to make an asset. So my process is I go and look pictures of real roofs to see how they look in real life and to see how the light affect the thing. Then I go to illustrations. I look for illustration and I see how like illustrators solve problems for making the high looking high, and what colors they use and those things. And then I look and I check if there is like pixel art references of that, and I check how other artists have done that thing. And looking at all the resources, I make my own, you know. But it's totally normal to do research and do that. So what you do for like expanding the your mini fantasy collection with your own stuff or making things for
Mhm.
Invio is just like uh, getting inspiration and knowledge from other people that have walked the path before, which is okay, you know.
Yeah.
So it's nothing bad in that. It's like everybody do that. So I'm glad you tell me you do that, because I'm happy. It's like it's always nice to inspire other people or give tools to other people so they can create their own stuff too.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for that because I didn't think I could do it until because I have this my personality is troubled by the fact that when I have too many options,
Hmm.
I get paralyzed.
Yeah.
So having the limitations of the 8x8 palette or the 8x8 resolution,
Hmm.
it actually helps me be creative because
Yeah.
um, you have to come
Boundaries.
up with
The boundaries is important.
yeah.
Yeah, really, they are. So I totally understand you. And like you say, you thought you will not be able, but everybody think that. I didn't know if I will be able to do this when I started, and now I know more than 2 years ago. But in 2 years I will know more than now. So for me, the important thing is starting to do something you want to do,
Yeah.
whether it's a hobby, it's a project, it's whatever. Because everybody starts from not knowing doing things, right? So you need to do things to learn to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm really glad that I stumbled across uh, mini fantasy on itch because it started a journey that I am very happy to be on.
cool, man. It's like I'm very happy you tell me this. Like, really,
Hmm.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, man. This is incredible. Like I think
And
for anyone producing any kind of content, someone tell you that thanks to you is doing something is just like a nice feeling.
yeah, and the fact that the Discord is probably the friendliest place I have ever been on the internet.
That's thanks
This
to
Discord.
you
Except for
guys,
that
man.
Vatsu character.
Huh?
Said except for that Vatsu character.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Total
Hate
douche.
I hate that guy. I mean, who the hell has an orange square as a profile picture?
Yeah, man.
Oh my.
Such avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm really glad you tell me, man. Thanks. Like
Hmm.
that inspire me too. You tell me that is like, oh shit. And going back to the limitations, that's very important too, because I feel the same. When you're gonna create something, you need to put boundaries around.
Yeah,
Because if you have all options open, you have no options at all.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because it's like virtually we have all options open all the time. But
Hmm.
you need to decide, okay, I'm going with this and with that. And with mini fantasy, I limited a lot in the resolution because it's 8 by 8, that is arguably very small and minimalistic. But on the other hand, I didn't limit myself at all in the color palette. So mini fantasy doesn't have a palette, actually.
I
It,
think that's what drew me to it at the start because a lot of um, a lot of low resolution stuff they use these like Pico 8 style
mm,
retro palettes,
yeah.
and I'm not uh, I'm not a particular fan of that art style at all, like the limited palette.
Mm,
But I love pixel art,
yeah.
and so mini fantasy was like the perfect combination.
Yeah. I think many people do that because it's easier to work with a fixed color palette for
Hmm.
because like to understanding the color theory. I mean, it's not that difficult, to be honest, but you need to practice
Mm.
understanding how color work. I can explain you like literally in 5 minutes now.
Hmm.
Like is not that much difficult, but applying it is a bit more difficult. And I think
Yeah,
people just stick to a color palette that works, that someone created, because again, it's boundaries. It's easier
yeah.
to approach a project with that. But for me, I decided to mini fantasy no not doing that because as the resolution was so limited. Hey, what's up, Gobi? Nice to have you here. Thanks for
Hello,
joining us.
Gooby.
It's
And
a
Gooby
cool beat.
easily has the cutest avatar though
yeah, yeah,
of
man,
all the
that's
people.
is is so cute.
Uh huh.
So it's like mini fantasy looks more detailed than it is because of the color. Because I can have all shades of colors I want, I can give like more depth to the assets than they should have, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because I
and
can I don't limit myself in that. So if you see like I don't know, you go to you can see more in later packs because again I learned more and I can use color better after 3 years and something working on it, like in this asset pack, for example. I feel
yeah,
it's very you can feel like there is volume in the stuff in this asset pack.
yeah. It literally like I want to walk into that cluster of trees because
Yeah,
it looks mysterious.
yeah.
And so I'm. Have you seen the
I've seen the
Studio
blinking
Ghibli
eyes. I don't
movie?
want to.
Have you seen the movie Princess Mononoke
Yeah,
by
yeah,
Studio Ghibli?
yeah,
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 you
of
know
course.
the middle of the forest where the ancient lies,
Yes.
the dying ancient. Yeah, I feel like that happens inside that cluster of trees.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Something mysterious like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but yes, that is how I started and how I keep going doing mini fantasy. And
well,
for instance,
I'm very glad that you did.
for the color thing, look, it's like I will. By the way, this is the cloud tile set I was showing you before.
Mhm.
But this is not what I wanted to show. It's like the color. I don't know if you guys know this, but for the color and to make your home palette is not that difficult. Like if you take a color, like let's say let's take blue, for instance. If you take a blue color and make this, and then you want to make it as like an sphere, you need different
Mhm.
shades, right? So basically, if you're gonna make darker colors here in the hue, you need to make them cooler. Cooler is always blue. So to choose a new shade for a blue color, you need to move this towards a more darker blue. Not darker, to a more blue color. So you need to come here and then you need to make it add black to that. So to get this, you don't need just to darken the color. You need to actually move it towards more blue, if that makes sense. So if you
Is that what's called hue shifting,
yeah,
or is that
that is
something
hue
else?
shifting and it's super important.
Okay.
That is going to make your color palettes vibrant and way better. Like
Mm.
I give you here a fast. It's not going to be the greatest sphere you're gonna see
I
today,
can
but
already see it. It turned into 3D by you doing that.
now if you
Yeah.
want the lights, is the opposite. Lights is towards yellow.
Hmm.
All everything that has more light is towards yellow. So you go towards yellow and then you make it less saturated and more white. And for the shadows is more saturated and more black. So I have this, I move this towards yellow and then less saturation and more white. Like this this can be applied in different ways, but you can put here or whatever. Or you can put
Yeah.
like this if you want to. Like this is going to be like a better the shades you use for the sphere are going to be better than if you do this that most people do because you don't know at the beginning. I have done that, and everybody that you take a blue and then you say more white and you put this more white, and then you take the same blue and you say more dark, and you don't hue shift anything.
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, so you can tell, right? You can tell the color depth is
Yeah.
completely different. This is way more sorry. Ah,
That's way more saturated. Yeah. And
this is
vibrant.
more vibrant. It's just not about only the saturation. There is more. Uh, there
It
is
looks more
more.
alive.
It's more color depth because you are not only
Hmm.
adding white or black. You are like shifting the saturation and the tone. And you can go extreme with this. It depends on what you want to achieve. But you could go in something more extreme, like you go to a very dark blue type of thing here, and then sorry, and then for the middle color you go to something almost green, and then to this color you go to lime green type of thing. This out of context doesn't make sense, but if you put in a context that all the color palette is created with those extremes, it will fit. You
And
understand?
I think that what you just did is the reason so many people select the pre-made palettes, because it's done for you already.
Yeah, because this is requires a little bit of work, but it's not that difficult. The theory is not complicated. It is just always keep in mind that brighter equals yellow, darker equals blue, and then the saturation. More dark, more saturated. Less dark, less saturated.
So like you see, you have that your color palette on the left, the one that goes from black
This?
to fully saturated. Yeah, the one where you clicked around. No, below there.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, there. Yeah. So something I've done, I always move in a straight line vertically.
This?
Like, so if so no, that's hard.
This?
The other way. Yeah, if I say I wanted green, I select a color, and then I only move straight up or straight down, and you move diagonally. And
Yeah,
I think, and that's why your colors are a lot more vibrant.
but let me tell you why. Because that is the saturation. That adds
Ah.
saturation. It's like how it works. How it works. This is white, pure white. This color is pure white. This color is pure black. This in the middle is half saturated, half white, and half black. So you have the green pigment, and then you have equal levels of white and equal levels of black in the green pigment. So if you move diagonally here, you are making it less saturated and more white. And if you are moving diagonally here, you are making it more saturated and more black. What happened? This is all in the green, in the same green shade. To make an interesting color palette, you also need to move the tone of the color, because I didn't get out from the green. So if I want to get the same color palette, but the right way to make it, from this green to this black and to this white, is I'm in the green and taking the green in the center, and now to go to the black I will also go to the blue, and now here, and to go to the white I will go to the yellow and here.
Yeah.
So
You get a lot more temperature.
yeah, it completely changed the color palette for the good, in my opinion. It's like, I'm gonna put this so you can see better.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think Nikki, see you, man. I'm gonna have to leave soon too. But I mean, this is not the best palette ever, but this one is better palette than this one, objectively, because it's like this green and this green are basically the same. The only difference is like you have add this black to this green to create this green. In this one, you have add the black, the green, but you have also add a blue. So this green is the combination of this green is the combination of this, of this. Oh man, and in the sorry, and in the wrong layer is this, and this.
Yeah.
Which this green is only this and this.
Yeah, so you add a whole nother dimension.
Yeah. It's that. It's like it's deeper because you are moving in another dimension of color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you tried the new Sprite 1.3 feature for tile sets?
Sorry, say again.
Sprite.
Yeah.
they just released their 1.3 update,
Yeah,
and it has
I didn't
improved tileset workflows.
I didn't check. This is the new one, but I didn't check
Oh,
the new
if
features.
you check out their new features, uh, it looks really good. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
need to explore, but because I didn't have time, and like to always get understand all the new things, you need a little bit of time and experimentation, and I didn't have time,
yeah,
but sure I will. Yeah.
yeah. I was just I know from personal experience, like in my day job, that sometimes even if something is vastly superior, like the new way of doing things, uh, having to retrain for how to do it the new way
Yeah.
might still take more time than it ever would if you kept going with
Yeah.
your old.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like I have a maybe not the best working systems, but I've been doing this for so long that is how I work. Like for example, for animations, some people work in animations. I think most people work in animations like this, and I don't do that. Most people have this like a frame, and they just add frames,
Hmm.
and they work in frame one, in frame two, and then in frame three, and that. Like you have a four frames
Yeah.
animation, and they work like this. I don't do that. I do this, and I actually made the width 128 and 32. Then I do this, and I put 32 by 32, so I get this grid, and
Hmm.
I work in the four frames at the same time.
Yeah. I do the same thing because I feel you get a much better overview when you do it
Yes,
like that.
it's like I need
Hmm.
to watch the whole thing. If when I work in the mini fantasy spreadsheets, I work like this. I have one direction, other direction, other direction, other direction, and I work in this simultaneously. And then to make the animations, you click here. Well, wait, I'm going to use actually a real spreadsheet from Mini Fantasy because you guys will understand better what I mean. From creatures, for example, human age, human, the walking animation will work good for this. So this is the spreadsheet. This is the way. This is how I create this, and then I have I put the 32 by 32 grid setting, so each one is a frame, and then I have the import sprite sheet, and you have width is like the 32, and then I put here the 28, and I see the animation like this, which is how you guys see this in the GIFs I put in the packs. So I'm all the time jumping between this and the other mode constantly.
Could you show me how you did that again?
Yeah, sure. So going back to everything. So if you want to see the grid, any grid, you just press Control and I don't know. I have a Spanish keyboard. It's Control and this one next to the zero.
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay, Control and that put on and off the. You can see an on and off the
Oh
grid.
yeah, the control apostrophe.
Yeah.
Oh.
You put on and off the grid, and then if you at least I don't know this is the default or I just put the shortcut, but you can make your own shortcuts anyway in Sprite. If I do Control F1, appear this window, which is grid settings. So I can change the side of the grid. Now the grid is 16 by 16. If I do this, I put the grid 32 by 32, which is the usual frame size I use for Mini Fantasy for most of the content. And now I have the grid of 32 by 32. Okay.
And how did you make it into the
Look here
playable?
in file. Yeah, I have a shortcut that I have put actually my mouse to go faster. But here in file, if you go to export, no export, import the sprite sheet, Control I, you get this window. And here is where you can import the animation, the frames into the animation you want. So for me, I want 32 width and 128 8 because I want to see the four directions simultaneously. If I
Okay.
put 32 here, the animation will run line by line. Look, one direction, the other direction. You see?
Yeah. I just learned something very helpful
Yeah,
because I've been doing it that way and splitting the sprite sheet up into 4 before I can import it.
yeah.
But that's gonna save a lot of time.
And
Thank you.
actually, yeah, and actually, this is useful because then if you put this like this, you can export like a stripe, or you can export the word you want. When you go here, export as, and then wait, because they changed this a little bit. Wait, they changed a little bit with the new version. Export spreadsheet here. You know this window? You can export like a line now if you want.
Yeah.
The output, then you can put, there is here like layout. If you have different, uh, you can choose horizontal strip, vertical if you want. It's the same animation by rows,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I usually
by
do by
colors.
rows.
Yeah, it has to be with this. But if you go back and you put this 128, now it's like that, and then you go to export. Is this one? No, this one? No, man, it's like some of the options have changed with the new update. I need to get used to
Yeah.
this. Export. Control E. Yeah, that Control E. You get this like this now.
Oh yeah.
Because I put 128 by 128. Anyway, like maybe I'm going into a thing that you don't need, but I just wanted to explain to you that you can export the spreadsheet the way you want from the animation
Yeah.
too. So yeah, so
And
there is.
having it the way that you have it now, the
Mm,
square,
yeah,
that's great for importing into at least for importing into Godot. Um,
this one.
yeah,
Mm,
having it like that is amazing because then um, when you import in Godot, you select the grid style and
mm,
then you select the frames, and you can go and you can name them.
yeah.
Uh, you can do one stripe and do name them for southeast, southwest, and so forth.
You can do that when you work in the animation, right? Like if you do this, uh, wait a second, do this. No, do this. And I'm getting confused here. Okay, when you have this, you can put tags here, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I
and
just
then
think it's
yeah,
it's a lot quicker to keep it the way you do.
yeah,
Uh,
I never use that actually. I never
no,
use, and some people ask me about tags and things. I don't use that feature, and I know some people use that all the time. So, but it's not my process of work. Yeah,
because I'm like you. I like to see everything at the same time.
yeah, me too. And I never use the onion layers or skin onion or what's the name? It's some feature I never use here.
I
Show
think
onion
that's
skin
good if
this.
you're making like smeary, like higher resolution pixel art with
Yes,
smears.
yeah, I
That's
think so
that's
too.
when it's good. But for mini fantasy,
Not
it's
necessary.
excessive. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I think the same. Yeah, and Pixel Pincher say he will love to see a live session of me working on a tile set. Uh,
I
I
would as well.
I don't mind to do sometimes. I'm worried I will not be as productive because it's like I will be talking to you guys, but I'm willing to do that one day, or at least just like like working on a test, like showing things. Like for example, I need to run so fast. I need to leave soon, but for a tile
Mhm.
set, I do this. A tile set is like I made this and start like doing this and take, and I say this is the top of a wall, and then I do this and I say, and this is the wall.
So what perspective do you use for mini fantasy tiles? Uh,
It's not a real perspective. It's this like RPG perspective that is not. a real perspective, because it's kind of like top down, and at the same time it's kind of like with some angle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's not like realistic perspective, or um, what the word, I forget the word, like geometric, real geometric is not real geometry. I try
No,
to
it's
do like many video games use that. It's not realistic. It just serve the purpose of showing things in the game, but it's just like
yeah.
top down with a slight of like point of view, like you are looking something from here,
Mm-hmm.
but things are not super consistent.
Ah, no, you like because I've been trying to make you know how I did that the prototype for the side scroller mini
Yeah,
fantasy?
yeah,
Yeah. Uh I'm I may or may not have a larger project that I'll be showing to you at
okay.
some point. Um and I've been trying to um convert some mini fantasy assets,
Hmm.
and I'm struggling with with like having a consistent conversion workflow because I see that you make things a lot more like on a case by case basis to make them look good,
Yeah,
uh, and that so I'm still trying to to
I, I will
it's a little bit
recommend is
finicky.
if it's for a tile set, I will recommend you doing this. This is very simple, but this is to make the basic tile set. Like I think you can identify what I'm doing now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
The thing is,
making the whole the basic tile set. What I do when I'm making a tile set, I do this at the beginning. So I have this made, and this is like the basic. This come here to the walls of whatever I'm gonna
mhm,
make. This is the most without texture, without nothing. Then you get
yeah,
here, you get a column. You get here, you get like a single wall. You can see most of the packs has something similar to this, right?
oh yeah, and it's super helpful.
Yeah,
It's why I like your pack so much.
how the tile set is organized is like this.
Hmm.
And from here you can start working. Like you can decide to give it some like texture to the thing and what you want to add here, or like darker one better. Like you can start into add some stuff. This is super simplistic, but like
I,
this.
I I understand. It's
And then you might want to add, yeah, I don't know, some more depth to the thing, so you add another color here, a little bit of a bright. Then you don't like, because this is a lot of like going and coming, so I spend most time like adjusting the values of thing, and then I decide that the wall is not the tone I want, and I say I want this more purple and less saturated, and I start from here working on it. But this
Mhm.
is working on a base like this, and then texturing this out is a good way to make sure things fit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. Uh, do you have time for another question, or do you have
Yeah,
to run?
one more. I have to go because my family
Mhm.
gonna kill me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ask me.
Uh, when I'm turning these tile sets into 2D, um, I have to chop off the top third.
Hmm,
So basically, what I've been like when I'm converting your assets to 2D to side view,
hmm.
I take off the turquoise part at the top.
You mean this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I take off that, and then but what I'm struggling with is getting something to uh, you know how side scroller games usually have like the walkable tiles in a certain color,
Yeah.
so that it's clear to the player
Hmm,
what they can walk on.
yeah.
Um, and I was thinking if you had any tips for that, for how to make it.
Yeah, I mean, you need to make it distinguished from the rest. It can work in different ways, but in general, you think how things react to real things, to real in a real environment. The top layer normally is going to be brighter, right?
Yeah, because
So
it catches the light.
yeah, it catches the light exactly. So if I have this in a green color, the top is going to be yellow with some how. So you can put I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm just going to try, okay, to do something. Maybe
Hmm.
it doesn't work well. And then you can add like some like texture like this, so
Yep.
it create the effect like this is over. It's like a higher layer of something,
Yeah.
and then you can maybe add some shadows or make it more add to more contrast to the whole thing. So you can put some shadows here like this to make it like more separate from the other part, and you can add maybe some even higher lights also if you want, like in some places, like, and then here you can have also some more like light part, and you can use maybe this now for the thing. So you can have that. This is fast. This is not good by any means, but
It is infuriating to me how easy and quickly you can do this.
man, you can do this too. Just practice. It's like you will get. uh, I was never this fast when I started. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So don't get infuriated by this. Like time gives you everything. Then there is many things you can ask to yourself and polish. Like I want this to have an indent because sometimes indents make things like feel like more 3D. So it's more like a platform. Then you can ask yourself, I want an outline. If I want an outline, by the way, you can outline things using this. I don't know if you know. Control O
Oh yeah,
is very
that's a
useful.
lifesaver.
Yeah. So you can do this and you can fix. Like you can put this lower if you want. You want this in the boundaries of the 8 by 8. You can like just put this like this. You can decide if you want to have the outline or not. Then you can try to maybe I want the outline in the other in this other layer on the top of the thing. And many things of making assets is just uh, testing constantly things. So I sometimes work for hours in something that I erase. Like it is true
Hmm.
for mini fantasy. Sometimes I work in something that I discard, and I spend maybe half of the day working in something for the new asset pack that I am deciding I don't like. But it's part of the process. You have to do that. You need to test. You need to go if you like something, if it works well for what you want to achieve for that specific thing. And now here you have a platform can be better than this, sure, but this is a thing that I think can make a good platform for a platformer, at least for a prototype.
If you made a tile set like that,
Mm.
I'd buy it instantly.
Good, yeah, it's nothing. It's just I don't normally work in side scroll. It's most of
Hmm.
it's top down because I'm pretty much focused on mini fantasy only. But this is how I will start to do it.
Yeah.
And then, well, you will make nine panels for sure. That's So for a tile set, you want to make like 8 9 panels, and then yeah, you have here your platform set. Now you can create your level. Wait,
That is so helpful.
yeah,
I will. I'll use this for sure.
yeah,
You could probably have like pixel art classes on a website like Udemy or something to have a second income stream.
man. But I don't have time. It's like I don't even have time to do all the mini fantasy things. It's like I don't. I will not have time to record the videos, editing them, and I will have the impostor syndrome. I will think who I am to teach anything. You know what I mean? It's like
Well, I mean, I've been sitting here for like less than an hour, and you've already taught me more than I've learned in a week of self research. So it's
I would be happy in doing it for the community, like once a month or two a month, like just like now, like chatting and just like
mhm.
demonstrating things and just like doing it. I'm up for doing that, like regularly, but I don't have time to make a course, man. It's like I literally have no time.
Yeah. I mean, just something like this because then Uh, I feel like this was tailored to our like Pixel just said, like a feature pack that we can order. That instead of you doing um, so like a Patreon vote to see
Mm.
if this would come up eventually, because I would love that, and a scheduled stream
Yeah,
would be amazing as well.
I mean, it's like, guys, I'm up to make any kind of changes if the community wants. So feel free to suggest these things. If people vote for that, I do.
Hmm.
It's how the mini fantasy community started, and it's how it will be. If there is interest and people want things, I will do those things. So yeah,
Thank you so much, and I won't ask any more questions because I'm afraid that your family is going to be mad at you.
yeah, it's like I need to get ready and drive like 45 minutes, and we didn't even eat lunch yet.
Ooh, have a good day and drive
Yeah,
safely.
you too, guys. Thanks a lot for joining, and it has been a pleasure. Like, really.
Yeah,
Next time,
bye.
more. Bye bye. Thank you a lot, Pixel Pincher, you too. Like, for staying all day and all morning. And yeah, feel free to suggest all of that if you want. And I gonna try. I promise I will try my best to doing this at least once a month too. And if I can sneak more streamings, I will. I really enjoy talking to you guys too. And if this is helpful for you guys, I really enjoy speaking about pixel art and asset creation and all these things. Bye bye. I got here.